Hi everyone! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I put out new bookish content every Thursday, so become part of this little family that I'm forming. In today's video, we're going to be going over some audiobook recommendations that I have listened to recently. We are going to be going over 7 recommendations, but if you want to see more, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. So let's start off. The first audiobook I have to recommend is an autobiography, which is a different genre for me, but one that I think anyone, no matter what your political background is, you should listen to, and that is Becoming by Michelle Obama. This is such a wonderful autobiography, and I would recommend it in the audio form rather than physical, only because she speaks it to you, so it's in her own words, and that's what I really enjoyed about it. You are following Michelle all throughout her childhood to teen years, college years, and then into the White House, and now present, which is after the White House. So it's really interesting to see where she grew up, how she got the opinion she has, and now her reflecting on all these experiences she's gone through and reflecting on life in the White House as well. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I 100% enjoyed this point of view and this look into the White House as the First Lady. That crow can just piss off. Like I said, I'm not normally one to pick up nonfiction books, but this one may change your mind. I think it's so well written and so well spoken. It's definitely a 10 out of 10 stars for me. The next recommendation I have is Sadie by Courtney Summers. In this story, you're following 2 different lines, kind of. The first one being Sadie's point of view, where you're following her experiences up until the point she goes missing. And then the second point of view that you're following is a radio personality who makes a podcast kind of trying to solve true crime mysteries. And so it is in podcast form, and you're hearing interviews with her grandmother and people that she's been interacting with. So it's almost like a true crime podcast, but it's a book as well. So if you're into any kind of true crime situations or like to listen to those kind of podcasts, I would recommend this book 100%. And it's kind of just trying to figure out where Sadie is and why she went missing. Next is a book that I know I've talked about a lot, and that is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. Honestly, I think anything by this author is wonderful to listen to because she does it herself, and it's normally in a slam poetry type of spoken verse, so it's really catchy, and it just, I don't know, it makes you not want to put down the audiobook at all. It feels like it goes by so fast. The Poet X in particular is one that I definitely recommend you check out. It is a girl named Ziamata that is living in Harlem. She's younger, and she kind of gets into slam poetry to kind of figure out more about where she stands in the world and kind of battle with this idea of religion that her mom has always instilled in her that she is now kind of second guessing. I think this is a great coming of age story, and it's one that I definitely will reread 100 and more times because I just love the way that Elizabeth Acevedo kind of reads it to you as the listener. It's a wonderful read. Definitely recommend this one. Now, if you want to get abnormally attached to characters, and I mean attached, these are the next 2 audiobooks that you should listen to. For the first book, that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. If you have not read or listened to this, I highly recommend this as an audiobook because it does have a full cast. This is all about a band called Daisy Jones and the Six that was very popular in the 1970s, and they broke up. And now it is present day in this book, and we are trying to learn why they broke up. And it's a series of interviews with each of the band members, and it is so well done. And you just honestly, by the end of the book, you're gonna think they're real life people. And even the songs that they talk about, you just wish you could just listen to them. Like, I can't tell you how much I loved this book. And if you are a fan of classic rock music, you may be even more enthralled by this just because it has those great vibes to it. And I don't know, just pick this book up and read it, even if you don't think it appeals to you at all. I promise you, it is such a good listen. The second book that will get you extremely attached to the characters is Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, also by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book is all about a Hollywood icon named Evelyn Hugo. I kind of picture her as almost like a Marilyn Monroe, and her whole life she's had 7 husbands, and it's all been a mystery of her life, and she hasn't exposed too much details, but now she's getting older and she wants to do a tell-all. And so in this tell-all, she goes over her entire life story, and that's what you're hearing in this audiobook. It's between the writer of the article as well as Evelyn Hugo, and it kind of goes back and forth. I just actually finished this book recently, and it had so many different plot elements to it that I really wasn't expecting and that I really appreciated. She brought to light some really hard-hitting topics that are really relevant to today's world, like homosexuality and racism and feminism. So all these topics are explored just in a beautiful way in this book, and you will get so attached to these characters in a heartbreaking way. And again, even if you don't think this is something you may be interested in, just give it a shot. I promise you won't regret it. After that, I have another book by Elizabeth Acevedo, and that is Clap When You Land. This book follows 2 girls, one in New York City and one in the Dominican Republic, and they don't realize that they are sisters, and their father dies on 9/11 in the plane crash. Once news spreads of his passing, they do end up finding out that they are sisters, and they're kind of battling with those demons of never realizing they had a sister until now, and trying to struggle with what that means for them now and moving forward. I think this was such an interesting look at 2 different lives that are connected by one soul piece and how they're going to manage with that. I thought this was a beautiful book. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Like I said, anything by Elizabeth Acevedo I have absolutely loved, and I definitely recommend the audiobook version, just because this again has one of those type of narrators that you just can't put it down. And there are 2 different ones for the 2 girls, and it's just beautiful. And the last book on this list is a historical fiction, and it is Lovely War by Julie Berry. This book is set in World War I and World War II. So in our present day timeline, which will be set in World War II, we are following the gods, and we're following Aphrodite, Ares, and Hephaestus, and she is speaking with both, and Aphrodite is married to Hephaestus and her lover is Ares, and she's trying to explain to them and answer the question of why are love and war always drawn to one another. And in doing so, she does this by narrating the past events and love stories that she saw unravel in World War I. And so we have a full cast of characters, not only with our World War I cast of characters, but we also have the gods that are narrating this. So we have Aphrodite, Ares, Hephaestus, Apollo, Hades. It is just such a beautiful story, and it has so many different elements to it. So if you're someone that is interested into historical fiction or anything with the Greek gods, I definitely recommend checking this out. This is such an awesome listen. All right, and that is it for my audiobook recommendations this time around. But if you want to see more, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. In the meantime, guys, I hope you're all staying safe out there and reading a lot, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!